When did you start?
I started in 1957 down at State Company 1.
Where were they located?
It was 1041 South Edgewood Street.
There you go. And that was all volunteer back then?
No, they had paid men. They had,
That's right, they did.
They had paid men. They had, yeah. I think one of the captain was Bob Tubbs.
I never knew him.
You never knew Bob?
No.
He was one of the first ones.
He passed away.
And then
before
Barner was a captain there.
Knew him.
And who else was there? It started that. Well, Al Sheffield was the chief. He lived up the street.
Right up the street.
Right up the street.
On Edgewood Street.
And then every house that you went to around that block, they belonged to the fire department, it seemed like. It was Carl Sheffield around the corner, Al Sheffield up the street, Captain Dotson up the street, Eddie Dotson around the corner.
Did this guy live around there?
Him and I grew up on the same block.
I got a picture of us back in the late 40s in there. I'll show you. Yep.
He was in the alley on 13th Street, and I was at 13th and Glebe Road.
Now, the men were members of the fire department, but most of the ladies were
all in the auxiliary.
Yeah.
We had a big auxiliary. I'll give him a bunch of papers not too long ago that I had saved that had all these things, the drug fairs and all this stuff that was burned up. And there was the ladies' auxiliary, all of them, my mom and his mom.
Did you ever see the picture of the drug fair fire? It was 4th of July. I forget what year it was. They had the old railroad station down there. And on the platform were all the kids. And the women were serving water. And in it's Petey, Sonny, me, I think maybe even Frank Shear. Yeah, we were all like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And that was back right down that 4 Mile Run Drive, right there, that old.
You got to talk to Dick.
But we had a couple of drug fairs caught on fire. One in Shirlington burned.
One in McLean burned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one really.
Now, your brother, he was my boss.
Yeah, my brother Tom came.
He was.
Yeah.
When I came on, Tom was a captain at Station 9.
Yeah.
And soon thereafter, he got promoted to battalion chief on A shift.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on A shift at Station 6. And I stayed on A shift for about 5 years. And then he transferred me to Station 4.
Thank you. Very beautiful.
To be the backup battalion aide.
Yeah.
Best thing could have ever happened.
That when you went into that, yeah, like what was his aide's name?
Caprakis.
John Caprakis. Yeah. He was right there too. At that y'all had a little nest there, like, and then when he was off, you was on.
Yeah, I would back up Captain if he was on leave and that kind of thing. And anyway, Tom did me such a big favor, and I told him that, especially after he retired. What you did made my career.
Yeah.
Because
well, you had a career. You you was a fire marshal.
A little bit of everything.
Chief fire marshal.
But they didn't have much staff back then. The administrative staff back then, they didn't have many. They had battalion chief on each shift. They had assistant chief, a chief, 2 assistant chiefs. That was all the chiefs.
Yeah.
And then if you were the fire marshal, that was at one time the captain, became a chief. And then the training went from a captain to a chief. Well, I was in both of those, but guess who got all the work?
Yeah. There was no money in it. The retirement program wasn't even, it was good, but it wasn't, you never get rich off of it.
No, $5,600.
Yeah.
That's what it was then.
But, you talk about this thing, my dad was a fireman, volunteer.
Oh, okay.
And that was back when they had American LaFrance, open top, no roof, no nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they bought Ward LaFrance's, which they thought was the greatest thing come down the street.
Yep.
And they didn't last that long. Mm-hmm. And then they went to a Young, and they were green. And everybody said it was a bad apple to start with. The bottom fell out of them.
We drove some old apparatus back then.
Yeah.
Some of it late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s and that kind of thing. You know, I often tell people when I came to work and you got a call, the first thing you had to be concerned about would the truck start.
Yeah.
And then if it got started, The next thing you had to be concerned about, would it stop when you
Stop.
got to the scene? With those brakes?
Yeah.
Hydraulic brakes?
They had the station 2 had a 750 American La France.
Yeah.
Had chain drive.
I never saw that.
And they run it all the way to Roslyn. When you got to Roslyn, you were lucky if you. Sometimes you had to go around a circle 2 or 3 times before you could stop.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So it's just amazing. And then Scobie, just look at the apparatus they have today. Isn't that wonderful?
Somebody told me the other day that they closed Station 7 down because the fire truck too heavy sitting over top of the living quarters.
I just heard that. And I'm sure it is.
It's been sitting up there for years and all.
Yeah, but these trucks are much heavier.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know they could even get one in there.
I didn't either. That's why I don't know. I haven't been over in years. I reckon it's still staying in the same place, but they're building a new one evidently. They're going to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the status of that is, but I was station commander over the first station commander over at 7, and that's when it wasn't expanded out. It was just like camping out. You had the kitchen, the bedroom, and the TV watching room, and a little room in the basement. Upstairs, you had the fire truck and the desk, and that was it.
Well, that was, well, back then, I don't, you know, the fire department was something else. Clemens was the chief. He was the first big chief we had, the wild chief. He had a training thing down there. He was training an officer before he made chief, so we wound up as training everything down the county yard. We didn't have.
You see Frank back there.
All right.
He hired me, Joe Clemens.
Did he? Yeah. Joe used to hang around the gas station right up the street there and play music all the time.
Did he?
Yeah. Right there, just across the street, there was the Exxon station right there.
Okay.
It belonged to Tut Hill. I mean, not Tut Hill. Who the hell was it, fellow? They lived down at Clarendon. A whole bunch of them lived down there. And they had that gas station. They set up there and play music.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, I joined the fire department in 1957. And here it is, 2019, and I'm still here. So that's they didn't kill me.
I joined in 1965, retired in 1999, and I did a variety of jobs. Training, I didn't do any EMS, fire marshal, all kinds of assignments in stations, and so on and so forth. Because the rank structure changed, and actually they didn't have many people to promote, so I was...
EMS changed the fire department. They used to have 2 ambulances, one on the north side and one on the south side. They had one in Station 5, one in Station 4, and Station 6 had their own.
Yeah.
They had a truck, old van or something they used up there. But that was it. When you come from the south side, you went to Arlington Hospital, you went up all the way up Glebe Road. And if that ambulance was up there, the one up on the other side, go all the way back down here to get somebody.
Oh yeah, I mean, you only had 3 of them to cover this entire county. So I worked at a Falls Church, and you got some long runs all the way across the county because there was no other. We didn't have the mutual response that we have today. Then it was nothing like it is today. What we have today is just an incredible system. Closest company concept for fire, EMS, and everything.
You see that truck right there? Look like, well, they got a squad wagon now that looks like that bigger. We had a squad wagon at Station 5 that was an old 600 American La France that had been converted, and it had a coupe up over the top of it. And Harold Leroy would get up in there and stand up with his crash hat on and ride standing up on that thing coming right on up the road. That old lady, family down here one day, called the lady and said, I'll call for an ambulance and you send me a fire truck. That old squad wagon.
But after 9/11, the society in general sees the fire department in a total different light. And it's really changed. Back prior to that, when I came on, I'll just say that, and I'll just say it, the county, I think, saw us somewhat as a burden. We weren't really funded very well. Apparatus was just make do and all of that. So it has evolved into what it is today, and it's first class, and I'm so happy for it.
This is amazing. That's the most beautiful thing I ever seen right out there. We used to stand on the back of the fire truck. You didn't know if you were going to stay on there or not. they didn't have all them seats up in there and everything like that. Didn't even have a roof on the first ones.
Oh no, most of the apparatus had no roof, and you rode in the back step on most of them.
The Wards of Francis they bought was the first big fire truck we had. Beautiful fire truck. Come out of Elmira, New York somewhere. They didn't have a roof on it.
But that was sort of a trend in the fire service in this area. And so, anyway, they got good accommodations nowadays.
They got it now. You know, I started so young in it, I didn't know nothing else. I was a fireman, it was in my blood. My father, my brother, everybody was in the fire department. My mother was in the fire department. She was a head of the ladies auxiliary at Station 1. So it was all family. I would get on the fire truck when I was just a kid and ride on that fire truck, and then I'd hide up underneath the tarp coming back to keep the chief from getting me and make me get off and ride in the car. I was just a kid, but I'd do that every time.
I had a very similar situation, but no. I lived my dream, my childhood dream, to be in the fire department. Unfortunately, I was in it at a time that so much changed, right on the cusp of what you see today. But everything about the fire service has changed, and a lot of it, critical stuff that was really meaningful to get us to where we are today, the cusp of that was right along in the period I worked there. So I feel like I have my fingerprint on some of this, what we have today.
And back in them days, it was a given thing. Your dad was a fireman. When you come up, you wanted to be a fireman too. A lot of firemen in this fire department today, their dads, their uncles or something served in it.
Well, one good example, Captain Lightfoot, who we honored today, his son and grandson are now on the department. So
Right.
that's tribute to the way John saw it.
If you come a little closer together.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's the way John was able to convey his interest and really desire to be a fireman. And his son picked up on that, and from that, his grandson picked up on it, and that's amazing.
It gets into your blood. I live up in the country now, and I see a fire truck go down the road. I'll ride down the road looking to see where it turned in. I still got that taste in my mouth. I want to follow it.
So there's a little bit of adrenaline rush, maybe?
That's it. I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, back in our day, then we had to do a lot of life saving in them days. I mean, we had some raggedy old places you went into. We had, you know, the county was broke up in different sections. You had ghettos and you didn't have ghettos. You had nice sections. Just like right up the street, there's Buckingham Apartments. It's been there forever.
Yes.
It's been there. There's got to be a secret to why it's still there, but I don't know it yet. I think it just must have something to do with low income or something.
I think it's affordable housing, which
Yeah.
is good. But if your question, I wasn't quite sure how to take it about health, but when I came on, the turnout gear and everything was nothing like it is today. All of that has been updated. I mean, my firefighting gloves, they bought out of the garden shop at Sears and Roebuck. True. And, you know, the turnout gear, the coats, they were actually cotton.
They had wool inside of them.
Oh, my Lord, yeah.
We didn't, you kept that gear from the time you got on till you got through. But then you didn't get it replaced. Now, if they go out here and they go on a fire call, they go in the house, got asbestos in it. When they come back, they pile it up in the corner. They get some more, they take that and redo it.
It's totally changed, and all that's for the good, but
It's all for the good and welfare of the firemen.
I'm sure it's taken its toll on a lot of us over the years, but we didn't know. We just didn't know what all of those ramifications of not taking care of these things.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The food is served. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
again.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sonny.
Should have told him about the monkey I caught at Station 1 and got out the pet shop.
Oh, really?
I caught that. Remember we used to have a little card room? And I was
Oh, yeah.
sitting in that card room and they got that That monkey
Oh my goodness.
What
got
happened?
loose.
What was that? You had a monkey?
The monkey got loose. We set a little trap out there with a string and all and caught him in the basket.
A real monkey?
Yeah. We were going to keep him in the fire hose. That sucker messed up the fire hose, man. We had to
Where
get
did
rid
you
of
get
him.
the monkey from?
The pet shop down the street, it got loose.
Oh.
They run around a little jungle behind the fire hose.
Did you return the monkey? Did he?
Yeah, we tried to give it back to him.
Did he come home safe? Did the monkey come home safe?
Yeah, well, we give it back to that guy. We left it down there in a box. We didn't want it no more. Enough of that monkey. When the bells rung and the whistle went off, the monkey went crazy. Messed up that place terrible.
Well, thanks, Sonny. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I joined the fire department as a volunteer in 1969.
We married in 1976, and you held many positions in the fire department.
Yeah. And you were secretary at that time, Kim?
No, I was a member. I joined in college. I joined about 1983. I joined the Ladies Auxiliary first, and I was secretary of the Ladies Auxiliary for many years. We also served food. And we baked for the Arlington County Fair. Massive cupcakes. That's what amount of cupcakes. And then you were going down to the station on the weekends. When you were in the Army, you came down and you were there at the station in case the fire bell rang and you got called out. So you were there on weekends when he wasn't being a soldier in the Army.
Wow.
So
So what were your position in the Army, Don?
I was a staff sergeant in transportation.
yeah, he held it. He was a staff sergeant. He drove trucks. He drove buses. He once drove for the Secretary of the Army, actually. And he moved the Liberty Bell up in Philadelphia in 1976, January 76, New Year's Day. I watched him do it. Well, I was in the Navy at Fort Myer. I watched it on television.
So when did you meet Kimberly? When did you
Oh, we
meet
met in
Kim?
1975 at Hershey Park, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so at that time,
Yes.
Don, you were the chief already, 69, you said.
Yeah, he was, let's see. Yeah, were you first aid captain by then? You been first aid captain by the time we met? Or was that, yeah, okay. He was first aid captain, lieutenant.
So you fell in love with this handsome man.
Yeah, yes, I did, yes. And we were married, met in 75, married in 76.
That's awesome.
And we bought our home here.
That's
so,
great. In
yeah.
Arlington.
Yes. We lived over on Pollard Street. So,
Very close
yeah,
by.
yeah, very close by. In those days, you had to be a member, you had to live in a certain area to join the company.
Right.
So we made sure that we were within the area so we
Yeah.
could join Company One.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
You really like
Uh-huh.
Company One.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we really did.
What,
So we had-
what year were you? What's the position, Don, you had? You can fill in too, and then you can also type.
Oh, I'm sorry. What
In
was that?
1969, Don was,
Just a firefighter. He was a firefighter.
you were a firefighter.
In training.
Right.
They gave you a red helmet, and then when you went through your training and the chief thought you were ready, he would give you your permanent helmet. Yeah, that's the way it worked in those days.
That was a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And you had a firefighting MOS, a secondary MOS as firefighter too. You were motor transport, and then a secondary MOS as firefighter.
So what is MOS? What is
That's MOS is your, well, in the Navy you would have called it a rate, but it's your, what is that called, MOS?
Military Occupational Specialty.
Oh, okay, military operation,
Operation Speciality?
yeah, specialty, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what he did, yeah. So, although you never fought fires for the Army, no. No, so. Yeah.
So,
And then
yeah, go ahead.
he was president at the end of,
Yeah.
of our stay here. 2008.
Right. 2008.
Yeah. So for the last 4 years we were here, he was president.
Yeah.
And I joined the company in 1998. And then I became secretary, and then I took over the treasury as treasurer also.
So 2008 to 2012,
Yes.
you were president
Yeah.
of Arlington Volunteer Fire Department #1.
Number one. Yeah.
Just to keep the company solvent as we were having trouble keeping young volunteers.
Yes, we were. We had a number of people who joined around right after 9/11. A lot of people. We had so many people joining that I couldn't keep up with all their names every month. I had to say the man in the blue hat, the guy in the yellow shirt, just to keep their names straight. It was incredible.
So people really wanted to come and
They
help.
did. They really did. Yeah, it was a big influx of people during that time. And unfortunately, they didn't stay around. By 2003, we pretty much lost most of them. They went to another company.
Oh, but then became firefighters.
Yeah, they became, and some of them did eventually become, I'm sure, paid firefighters, and they went on fighting fires, but just not with our company. And we worked with the association also, the Firemen's Association, Arlington County Firemen's Association. For many years, we did the county fair every year, every August. We had a big display there, and we worked very hard at it. We had a number of people who would help us put it on every year.
Because today is a career compared to the 60s, 70s. Today people get paid,
Right.
correct?
Yes. Rudy told me, he relayed to me that when he first joined, if you weren't there in time for the meeting and got there very early, you couldn't even get on the trucks. There were so many volunteers that wanted to ride.
Oh, really?
And in those days, they were allowed to ride all over the truck. You were allowed to ride on the back step. You were allowed to ride in the bucket seats. And
2001. Yeah.
Oh, this was way back. This was in the 70s.
Ah, that was very popular.
Yeah, very popular.
When I joined there, WRE already paid personal on duty.
Beat that, Kimberly? What the iPad?
When I joined there, WRE already paid personal on duty.
Okay. So they already paid at that time?
Yes, they were.
2008,
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That must make a huge difference for a professional firefighter to get paid and do the job, no?
I used to ride the ambulance and delivered a baby in the back of it.
Yeah. Right on Columbia Pike and Glebe Road, wasn't it? Yeah.
So this must have been after 76, I figure.
No, it was before you met me. Yeah, it was way
You were
before.
around at
yeah,
that time.
because I was around by
No,
75. This was early 70s, I
Oh,
believe.
70s.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You must have been nervous.
You were pretty cool. You were pretty cool according to your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other kid with you couldn't even get the OB bag open.
You have to do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's right. You were cool hand Luke there. Yeah.
Do you remember it was a boy or girl? Or remember?
It's a boy. Yeah.
It was the woman's 7th child.
Oh, it was the woman's 7th child. Yes.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's special to be a firefighter. I tell everybody, I mean, you're helping humanity. Why do you pick such a career? Do you remember what made you pick it?
You were always volunteering.
From the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt good.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes them feel very good. Yeah. Yeah. Remember that time that you had the mask in training? It was training, wasn't it? In the training house there, and you went in and the mask wasn't working properly, and you went up, and you had to be carried down. Yeah, they carried him down the stairs. They passed him down the stairs and out the door. It turned out the mask was defective. It wasn't working. What did they do? Pile up logs or something, or tires and set them on fire.
That's very bad.
Yeah,
for lungs.
yeah.
would have
Yeah.
been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they had. That's what they had available, I guess. So they tossed it in there and lit it on. Yeah.
And
So-
advice to firefighters.
Be careful and stay alert.
Amen.
Yeah.
Stay alert.
Yeah. Yes.
Is there any particular people that tends to stick as a firefighter, or?
I went to a fire in the ambulance. We brought out a woman with no heartbeat and not praying. We started CPR, got a heartbeat and started to the hospital. When we got there, she was sitting or talking to us.
It's right there.
Yeah.
This is saving someone's life.
It's a great story. Yeah.
It happens all the time, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a heart beating again. Do they contact you often afterwards and some flowers? No?
But I'm sure she's grateful.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
John, thank you so much for letting me film you and Kim.
Yeah. It's our pleasure.